Namaste and welcome. It is Rishi here from meditatewithrishi.com, and today we are going to be exploring the noble Eightfold Path in Buddhism. So in the previous video we looked at the Four Noble Truths, and those essentially were the fundamental understanding of how the world works, how the universe works, and formed the fundamental basis essentially to understand how to become free of suffering. The Eightfold Path is the exact path that has been recommended by the Buddha, saying that if you follow this word for word, if you really live this, if you really embody this, then you can become free of suffering, you can attain the ultimate happiness, you can essentially rid yourself from the cycle of life and death. So let us get into it. What is the Noble Eightfold Path? So it starts with number one, which is right view. Okay, so this is there's a reason why it's at number one, because it forms the basis of how well you will do all the other steps essentially. Having the right view is very important. So what do I mean by this? So let's take a couple of examples where we need to have the right view, right? So in previous videos, we covered the concept of impermanence, that everything in the world is impermanent. Now, the Buddha says that the reason why we suffer is because we do not understand or know or realize that things are impermanent. Now, because we do not understand this, we become attached to things. We try to grasp things. We try to avoid things. We are not able to live in the present moment, happy, knowing that whatever it is, this too shall pass. So the attachment and the aversion that we have is the fundamental cause of our suffering because we don't understand that things are impermanent. They're temporary, essentially. Another one is the concept of unity, the concept of non-duality, essentially. This is, in fact, in today's world, the most important thing, the understanding that we are all one, we are all connected. In the previous philosophies like Samkhya, like Vedanta, like Yoga, we have explored scientifically why we are all one. But the understanding that we are all one can save the world of so much trouble. If you look at what is happening right now in Afghanistan, acts of terror, so bad, they come from the wrong view, essentially. They come from a wrong view by thinking of others as separate from us. When we think of others as separate from us, that's when we can even think about harming them. Making a hell out of their well-being. So this is very, very important. If we are going to be happy, if we are going to make others happy around us, having a right view is extremely important, okay? And this is why studying these philosophies is so important, because studying these philosophies gives you a right view of the world, a right view of how things work, how things happen, essentially. And when you know this, it becomes much easier, right? To use anything, you need a manual, and these philosophies are a manual for how to live in this world happily, essentially, right? So from right view, naturally comes right thinking. If you have the right view, if you are looking at things with the right lens, then you will have the right thinking. And right thinking, essentially, is thinking that is full of love, thinking that is full of compassion, essentially, in anything that you do, right? So when you have this lens, the way that you will operate, so very simply, if you truly believe that we are all one, that I am in you and you are in me, the way that you will treat me, the way that you will treat others around you will be very loving, will be very compassionate. Wrong thinking, on the other hand, is at extreme levels, is what leads to things like depression, right? So if you have a wrong view of things, then you get wrong thinking. And with wrong thinking, you can go into depression, right? With depression come thoughts of suicide in extreme cases, right? On the flip side, when you have wrong view and wrong thinking, then it can give rise to terrorism, something that we are seeing right now happening, this very day. So, do you see how important it is to understand, to have right view, to have right thinking? Right thinking essentially gives rise to thoughts of compassion, of love, essentially. And this is in our power. Our thoughts are in our power. And they are the most important thing that we can be mindful of. This is why the loving kindness meditation is so important, because you are sitting down and you are consciously generating feelings of love, feelings of kindness toward people that you already love, toward people that may have harmed you, toward the entire world. And these thoughts, essentially, when they are generated consciously, thoughts of love, thoughts of compassion, right? They turn naturally into right speech. Your thoughts, whatever you say, has first formed as a thought in your mind. So if we can cultivate the right thoughts, if we can cultivate right thinking, naturally we will have right speech. And right speech, in the very same way, is speech that can uplift somebody, speech that can help somebody, speech that can save somebody, speech that can essentially improve the well-being of the person that you are speaking to, of the people that you are speaking to. It's just like the concept of ahimsa or non-violence in the yoga philosophy. We must never say or harm anybody with our words. We must never harm anybody with our actions. Because our thoughts, our words, our actions are all boomerangs. Whatever we put out there, naturally it will come back to us. This is the law of the universe. This is the law of karma, essentially. So when you have right view, naturally you will have right thinking. With right thinking, naturally you will have right speech. And then it becomes very easy to cultivate right actions. So right actions are anything that we do with the body. Anything that we do with the body. So think about how you are spending your day and what actions are you doing. And how many of those actions essentially are done with the intention of improving the well-being of somebody else. Right actions, essentially. Now, this is something very deep, but I hope it has an impact on you. The Zen master, Thich Nhat Hanh, says that actions do not stop. Your actions continue. Actions do not stop. Your actions continue. So what does this mean? This means that anything that we do in this life, it becomes a stamp on our personality that is going to live forever, essentially. And it will continue living and continue to impact the lives of others. So an example of this is many times, you have parents that are abusive to their children. And what happens is, because the parents have been abusive to their children, the children do not know any better. The children grow up with resentment in their heart. And when they grow up with resentment in their heart, they become abusive parents to their children. They become abusive parents to their own children. And it's almost as if they don't know any better, and they do not have the awareness to know any better. Parents who were abused become abusive parents. Employees who were abused become abusive employees. Daughter-in-laws that were abused become abusive mother-in-laws. So this chain, the actions that we do with our physical body, even if we die, the impressions they leave on someone will stay there, and they will continue and continue and continue. So if we want to create peace and love around us, our actions must change, because that is what will continue. They're all seeds that will grow into some kind of flowers later on. You know, not trying to big myself up, but this is why I decided to start doing these videos, because I see every video as a seed that is being planted into the soil of the internet. And people will watch these videos. For years and years to come, people will search on YouTube and watch these videos, essentially. And who knows what situation somebody is in. And, you know, a little bit of inspiration can take somebody out of darkness. And I really know how important that is, because people who know my story of coming out of addiction, coming out of trauma, this type of inspiration was really needed, you know. Another thing that I need to mention in this video is, think of the term that is used in the world today, YOLO, right? You only live once. So, you know, we say it as a joke, and we say it as a kind of justification for enjoying life, for enjoying all the material things. And when you look deeply into this, YOLO, you only live once. First of all, that is a wrong view. Because it has been proven, you know, in the Eastern philosophies it has been said, modern science has also proven that matter and energy cannot be destroyed. There is the law of conservation of matter, the law of conservation of energy. Nothing is created or destroyed. It just gets transferred from one form to the other. So you do not only live once, you will come back again in another form. And this wrong view that you only live once leads to wrong thinking. It means that you think that you can do anything that you like. You can harm your body with drugs and alcohol. You can cheat on people. You can harm people. You can basically live a very materialist life, and that it will not affect you. It will affect you. It will affect not only you, but those around you. Remember, your actions do not stop. Your actions are seeds that continue and continue and continue forever. So it is really important. Do you see how having the right view automatically gives us right thoughts, right words, right actions, and how important that is for our happiness and others' happiness? And others' happiness is not any less important than ours, because remember, I am in you and you are in me. Anything that starts over here, thoughts are boomerangs essentially. Anything that you think will come back to you. So it's really important that even the thoughts that we have, we are cultivating the right kind of thoughts through conscious practice, through conscious meditation, essentially. So part of right actions, right? The truth number 5. The step number 5 is right livelihood. So here the Buddha is saying that the way that you live, the way that you sustain yourself, the way that you earn your money should be done in an honest way, in a way that is not harming anybody. So whatever career you're in, whatever you are doing, and the way that you're conducting yourself, this is something that you can personally just take some time and look deeply into it. What is it that I'm doing? What impact is it having on the world? And while I'm doing this, how am I conducting myself, essentially? Something very personal that you can do. Then, number 6 is right effort. Okay? So what is right effort? What does right effort mean? So the Buddha is saying that we must have a balanced effort in everything that we do. So if you remember the story of the Buddha when he was on his search for the truth, and he came to the conclusion that the path that he should take should not be too extreme, or it should not be too luxurious. So initially he was living as a prince, which was very luxurious. Then when he was searching for the truth, he began doing a lot of austerities, starving himself, and that took him almost on the verge of death, essentially. So he said that the path I should take is the middle path. Neither extreme is good. If we want success, if we want results, we must follow the middle path. So this needs to be followed in any quest that we have, essentially. An example, these days you see, we live in this six-pack world, right? Everybody wants a six-pack, everybody wants to be size 0. And to do this, a lot of people are taking extreme diets. And extreme diets, when you look into them, what they have is you are essentially cutting back on one of the macronutrients. You're either cutting back on carbs or cutting back on fat or drastically cutting back on calories. And by doing this, you are harming the body, you are creating suffering in the body. And this is essentially not a right effort. This is not a balanced effort because it is creating suffering. And the entire purpose of this Eightfold Path is to become free of suffering. So instead, if we take a very balanced approach in anything that we do and stick to it in a disciplined way, slow and steady, you will get there. You will win the race, essentially. Okay? So now we come to number 7, which is right mindfulness. And right mindfulness, I'm sure you know what mindfulness is, right? It is essentially coming back home to the present moment and having your full attention, your full focus on that which you are doing right now. And when you conduct yourself in this way, you will realize that you will be able to recognize very easily any wrong actions that you are doing. Because you cannot be mindful and be continuously angry at someone. Because by the time you become mindful, you'll realize that this anger is only making me suffer. I need to stop this. You cannot sit with an entire bag of potato crisps and eat them mindfully because you'll realize what you're doing to your body. It is only when you are not mindful, when you're watching Netflix, and then you can put anything you want in your mouth because you're not mindful. You are not recognizing the wrong action that is being done. So, right, mindfulness is very important because it will make you aware of where you are doing wrong thinking, wrong speech, wrong actions, and you can rectify that with right mindfulness, essentially. And the last one, the step number 8, is right concentration. If you remember in the yoga philosophy, it is concentration that leads dharana, that leads to meditation, and meditation that leads to samadhi. Here you have right concentration is really important because when you have right concentration, let's say that you are sitting down for meditation, you choose an object for meditation and you begin to concentrate. And the better your concentration, the deeper you will be able to go. Unbroken, unwavering concentration ultimately will lead you to a place of insight. It will lead you to a place of insight. Some insight will be revealed to you about the nature of things. This is how the ancient sages, like the Buddha, were able to understand the concepts of non-duality, the concepts of impermanence, how the universe works, the secrets of the universe, anything that they desired, they could put their mind to it, and with right concentration comes right insight, essentially. And through those insights, once again on this wheel, it gives you the right view of how to view the world. And when you have that right view of how to view the world, you can perform right thinking, right speech, right actions. And when you perform the right actions, when you perform the right karma, you have seen in the other philosophies, you can liberate yourself from suffering, you can liberate yourself from the cycle of birth and death, essentially. And even while you're living, have that ultimate happiness because you have the right view of things. Essentially. So that is it. This is the Eightfold Path from the Buddha. I've tried my best to explain. I really hope that it makes sense and you enjoy the video. Thank you very much for watching. Namaste.